This is the Australian stock market closing report for Wednesday, the 18th of May 2016. In overnight news, the US major averages fell greater than 1%, with the Dow Jones lower by 180 points after the month-over-month consumer price index came in hotter than expected, creating concerns that the Fed could use the surprise above estimate CPI figure as a basis for raising the Fed funds rate in June. This pressured today's markets, with the ASX 200 index closing lower by 39 points or 0.74% to 5,356. The daily trading range was 48 points, with the high of the session at 5,395 and the low of the session at 5,347. Market breadth indicated the significance of today's weakness, with 40 stocks advancing versus 148 stocks declining and 12 stocks unchanged. In overnight sessions, crude oil closed at a 2016 high and base metals were flat to slightly higher, which resulted in the metals and mining sector closing higher by 0.32%. Gold Road Resources closed to the upside 11.4%, Resolute Mining closed up 5.7%, and Sims Metal Management closed higher by 2.6%. Due to the commodity prices rising overnight, BHP and Rio Tinto also performed well relative to the overall benchmark index, with BHP higher by 22 cents or 1.15% to $19.43, and Rio Tinto flat on the session or down 5 cents or 0.1% to $45.82. The energy sector was the only other sector that closed in the green today, up by 0.24%. Worley Parsons led the components, closing 2.5% higher. Origin Energy closed up 2.1% and Beach Energy closed higher by 1.5%. Underwhelming economic data releases saw the consumer-related sectors hit in today's session, with the consumer discretionary sector closing lower by 1.52%. Seven West Media was down 6.4%, JB Hi-Fi was down 3.8%, and Corporate Travel Management was lower by 3.2%. The consumer staples sector also demonstrated relative weakness to the overall benchmark, closing lower by 1.24%. Bellamy's Australia was down 5.5%, Blackmores was lower by 5.1%, and Treasury Wine Estates was down 3%. The financial sector moved lower in alignment with the overall market, closing down 0.83%. The banking bellwethers were significantly weaker, with the exception of ANZ, with the bank closing positive 0.8% or 19 cents to $24.70. The Commonwealth Bank was down 1.4% or $1.08 to $77.62. National Australia Bank was down 2.2% or 61 cents to $27.52, and Westpac was lower by 0.7% or 21 cents to $29.99. In economic news, according to the figures released today by the Australian Bureau of Statistics, the wage price index rose 0.4% in the March quarter. Private sector wage growth came in at 0.4%, slightly below expectations of 0.5%, and public sector wages grew 0.5%. Annual private sector wages grew at a slower pace than the public sector, with the private sector rising 1.9% compared to 2.5% for the public sector. The report said that through the year to March quarter 2016, the total wage price index rose 2.1%, the lowest rate since the series started September quarter 1998. However, economists note that wages are keeping ahead of the current inflation rate of 1.3%. The Westpac Melbourne Institute Index of Economic Activity was released today. The index suggests a sluggish outlook for the economy in the next 3 to 9 months. Westpac chief economist Bill Evans said, "The recent sharp deterioration in the growth rate of the lending index is pointing to a more serious below-trend growth performance in 2016 and 17 than indicated by even the government." The 5 most active stocks in today's session were Fortescue Metals down 1%, Telstra Corporation down 1%, Beach Energy higher by 1.5%, South 32 lower by 1.5%, and Qantas Airways down 2.4%. The 5 top performers were GrainCorp up 7.5%, Metcash up 4.05%, Sims Metal Management higher by 2.6%, Worley Parsons higher by 2.5%, and Sci Global higher by 2.2%. The 5 worst performers were IOOF Holdings down 7.55%, Seven West Media lower by 6.4%, Bellamy's Australia lower by 5.5%, Technology One down 5.1%, and Blackmores down 5.1%. The Australian dollar is currently lower in the Asian session, 0.75% to 72.71 US cents. Spot gold is marginally lower by 0.2% to $1,274 US dollars. And crude oil is remaining near 7-month highs, slightly down 0.1% to $48.21. This has been the Australian Stock Market Closing Report for Wednesday, the 18th of May 2016, and I've been your host, Aaron First. I'll see you again next time.